When my neighbors blocked my driveway during a wild party and screamed slurs at me, they forgot one crucial detail. I operate the local police tow trucks, and I was on call. I live down a narrow dirt road at the end of a cul-de-sac. It's a tight squeeze, especially with recent heavy rains turning the grass and clay into a muddy trap. That Friday night, I saw my neighbor starting a party. Since I was on call for the Virginia State Police towing rotation, I walked over early to make one thing clear. As long as they didn't block my driveway, everything would be fine. They agreed, but at midnight, my boss called. He needed me to warm up the heavy tow trucks. I walked outside, got into my car, and realized I couldn't move. My driveway wasn't blocked by one vehicle. I was completely boxed in by nearly 15 different trucks and cars. I walked the eighth of a mile over to the party to find my neighbor. As I navigated the crowd of drunk teenagers, some random guy aggressively asked why I was on his property. I ignored him, found my neighbor, and politely asked her to get the cars moved so I could go to work. She rolled her eyes, yelled into the house for people to move their trucks, and slammed the door in my face. I knocked again. She opened it, sloshing a cheap beer, and said, "Oh God, this bitch again?" I tried to explain I was on call, but she just yelled that it was a party, told me to relax, and shut the door again. As she walked away, she yelled a homophobic slur. Then her macho friend threw a beer at me and yelled to get lost. I smiled, walked back to my property, and called dispatch. I told them to send every single tow truck we had available that night. Mama had some private property impounds to do. I also called the police department and asked them to send an officer in case things got ugly. As soon as the deputy arrived, my fleet of rigs started rolling down the narrow road, headlights flashing. We immediately began hooking up the vehicles and hauling them off to our impound yard. It was a beautiful sight. And by the time we got down to the last 3 vehicles, the partygoers finally realized what was happening. The owner of a yellow Civic bolted to his car and managed to speed away. The girl who owned a gold Silverado tried to flee too, but she was completely wasted. She got her truck stuck in the mud and started tearing up my grass in a panic. The officer walked over, and after she threw a massive fit, she was arrested for underage drinking and a DUI. We hooked up her truck and towed it away. Since the weekend had just started, these kids were about to face a very expensive lesson. Our standard impound fee was nearly $300, plus $55 a day for weekend storage and a $100 after-hours gate fee. I went to work, made coffee for my drivers, and filled out the paperwork. On every single storage sheet, I left a note thanking the host of the party for getting their car towed. By morning, the angry phone calls from parents started coming in. Many threatened me with lawsuits, claiming the tows were illegal. I calmly sent them pictures of their kids' cars parked directly on my property, right next to my clearly visible no parking signs. I explained that I had tried to reason with the teenagers, but they chose to scream slurs and throw beers at me instead. 2 days later, the original poster shared an update. By Monday morning, 7 of the 15 towed cars had been retrieved by their very unhappy parents. The other 8 remained in the yard, racking up storage fees. Because of the rules, only the registered owners, mostly the parents, could retrieve them, which made the kids' situations even worse. The girl with the Silverado had a mandatory 30-day police hold placed on her truck, so she wouldn't be driving anytime soon. One angry kid threatened to call the police on me at the yard. I happily offered to dial the number for him. He shut up. I also spoke with the parents who actually own the house next door. The mother was deeply apologetic, and I accepted her apology. Apparently, once the other parents started calling to complain about their kids' cars being impounded, the daughter got into massive trouble. Her mother assured me it would never happen again. Some people online criticized me for ruining the drunk driver's life, but she chose to drink and drive on my property. If you block someone's driveway when they were on call, expect to get towed. And next time, don't throw beer at the person who owns the tow trucks.